Welcome back to Cooking with Jolly Space Cow. I never used to see rendered beef fat in the supermarkets ever since it disappeared in Foodland a year or so ago. I was very surprised to see that recently, beef fat is back. It's called SUPAFRY. It has a very distinct red package. It stands out from all the butter that's next to it. Butter is very good. I especially like to use butter for making scrambled eggs because there's a natural fat binder found in eggs that will hold the butter in. Butter versus tallow. Butter is the fat that is derived from cow's milk. Beef tallow is the fat that gets rendered down from fat trimmings of a cow. Based on paleoanthropology and stuff, the humans before us ate a lot of animal fat for a very long time. They only sourced it from the animal's flesh before the agricultural revolution roughly 12,000 years ago. This is all to say that beef tallow is more species appropriate to eat than butter. SUPAFRY is rather cost effective. It's cheaper than all of the butters. But the downside is that because it's made of fat trimmings which were byproducts of other meat products, SUPAFRY is not from grass-fed cows. Not that I can tell from looking at it or tasting it, but beef fat that is not grass-fed is not as good as grass-fed beef fat. Don't get me wrong, fat from an animal that didn't eat its species-appropriate diet and dairy fat aren't also problematic. What are problematic are vegetable oils. Question: what are vegetable oils? Do you spook a carrot and you collect its sweat? No, it's from a seed. And the worst part about seed oils is that you can't make them without a hardcore factory. I'd like to share a story. It's quite confronting, so brace yourself if you're not sitting down. I used to use Western Star butter from the plastic tub. It was very easy to remove the butter from the tub because it stayed soft. I used it for a long time until I read the ingredient list. It had seed oil in it. In fact, not only did it have seed oil in it, it had colouring and it was fortified with vitamins. I was horrified. The next time I went to the supermarket, I checked the ingredient list of every single butter. It turns out that the butters that are in plastic boxes are mixed in with seed oils so they can be more spreadable and also cheaper. The butters that are wrapped in foil are the true, pure butters. The thing I learned about true butters that day was that they are completely solid when they come from the fridge, and they're only soft if you leave them out on the counter. SUPAFRY versus Jolly Space Cow's homemade tallow. I got some fat trimmings off my butcher and I was able to fill up my old ghee jar halfway with beef tallow. I cut up the trimmings, put them in a big pot with a centimetre of water to cover the bottom. I rendered it for 8 hours and then I ran it all through 2 layers of paper towel because I didn't have a cheesecloth, so I used a paper towel. In the category of eating it straight from the fridge, my one was better. SUPAFRY tastes pristine with no beefy flavour. In fact, SUPAFRY kinda doesn't really taste like anything. My homemade stuff was made from trimmings that had meat and connective tissue intertwined with the fat, which probably contributed to a nice flavour. When it comes to taking a chip off the block of SUPAFRY, it is a very solid, tough chunk of fat. You really have to put your back into cutting away a chunk. I suspect that it would be much easier if I left it outside the fridge. My conclusion is I'll still be using butter for the eggs, but SUPAFRY is pretty useful if you want to supplement your steaks with fat and you don't have time to render your own trimmings.